The ORB strategy is by far the easiest way to become consistently profitable fast, and it works so well that it almost feels like cheating. If someone would have showed me this 3 years ago when I first started trading, I would have gotten to days like this, and even this a whole lot sooner. Today, you're going to learn how this simple approach to trading helps you avoid these fatal mistakes that keep most traders stuck for years, so you can cut out all the wasted time, stop blowing accounts, and start becoming consistently profitable. But first, why does it take most traders years to become profitable? It's not because they don't work enough. Trust me, I know, because it took me 3 years of grinding, losing, and starting over before I figured all of this out. And honestly, it should have only taken 1 year. And it probably would have if I avoided these 2 fatal mistakes that keep traders stuck. Mistake number 1 is most traders aren't trading to win, they're trading not to lose. And I know this because I lived it. 1 year in, I was still blowing accounts. Every time I sat down to trade, I was tense. Not because I was scared of losing money, it was much deeper than that. I had lost trust in myself and my own ability to execute. And that's where most traders get stuck. You overthink, you hesitate, you second guess yourself right at the moment you need to pull the trigger. You're walking a tightrope every single time you enter a trade. And here's the painful truth when it comes to trading. The more you try not to lose, the faster that you are going to lose. Now, before you think this is going to be some sort of motivational speech about mindset, it's not. The solution isn't an affirmation or any psychology book. The solution is a process so clear and mechanical that it takes the emotion completely out of the equation. You stop trusting yourself and you start trusting the system. That's what the ORB gives you. Mistake number 2, traders think more knowledge equals more success. It doesn't. Knowledge without any clear way to use it does more harm than good. If you're like most traders, you spent months, years, watching dozens of different YouTube channels, learning strategy after strategy, and now your chart looks like an art project. Indicators everywhere with no clarity of what the market is actually doing. The information is useless if you can't execute on it. You don't need more strategies, you don't need more PDFs or more videos or more mentors. You need one step-by-step strategy that is so simple that you can execute it the same way every single day. One of the best lessons that I ever learned is that you can become more successful by implementing what you learned from one video than trying to combine what you learned from 100. And that's the goal of what I'm showing you today. After this, you don't need anything else. Just go trade this again and again until you become profitable. Every morning before the market opens, I do one thing. I determine my bias. Bullish or bearish, that's it. And now when I determine my bias, I'm going to start on the 4 hour. And on the 4 hour, I'm just going to be asking myself this one simple question. Are we bullish or are we bearish? And is there any key levels that price might be tapping into? So we have a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Now we shift the structure. This is what we call breakout structure, and then we push to the upside. So a lot of traders here they are going to be looking for sells since we just broke this structure. But if you put everything together, we are at all-time highs. Price is probably having this pullback, having a little liquidity sweep to then continue to the upside. If price would have broke this low, then yes, we would probably be now it's changing to go to the downside. And I also saw that prices pushed up from this area, so I want to be looking for buys. That's just the 4 hour. 4 hour is bullish. I want to be looking for buys just based on the 4 hour, and then I'm going to connect it with the 1 hour. Once I connect it with the 1 hour, I can clearly see that it is going with what I said earlier. We were bearish. We broke this lower high, giving us a shift of structure to the upside. Price is pulling back, and we are respecting bullish market structure, respecting these bullish fair value gaps. So I want to be looking for buys 1 hour and 4 hour. That is how I'm going to get my buys for the day. Now for step 2, we're going to be marking our key levels on the 15-minute, and we're going to be marking our ORB. So what is the ORB, and why does this 15 minutes matter? The first 15 minutes has the most volume than any other window in the day. This is where all the smart money comes in. This is where all the banks, the institutions, all the volume is coming into the market. So we're going to let them set the range, and then we're going to trade the break. So if we go down the trading view, that 9:30 is when the market opens. That's when New York session opens. So 9:30 to 9:45, this candle right here is going to be the candle that we're going to mark wick to wick. Usually I get this rectangle box, I just slide this open, and then I mark it from wick to wick, and this is going to be my ORB low, this is going to be my ORB high, and this is the midline of the orb. To get this rectangle, all you do is just go to this left part of the screen, click this arrow, and then click rectangle. You can favorite it too if you want to add it to this toolbar. And then we're going to mark all of our key levels. All of our key levels are just going to be swing highs and swing lows, also known as liquidity. Mark these levels here. This is what we call generated liquidity, so we can really just be targeting all-time highs. And then we have equal lows down here. We also have this one right here. Okay, so that's all of our key levels marked. And since we are bullish, then we also have this 15-minute fair value gap right here. That is also a 1 hour gap. So since our bias is bullish, we can actually anticipate for price to have a fake breakout, since we are pushing to the downside, to then tap into this 15-minute fair value gap, sweep this liquidity, to then have the push to the upside. In step 3, all we're doing is waiting for a break. And when we're waiting for a break, we want to make sure we're on the 1 minute time frame, and we're going to be waiting for a break of the orb in the direction of our bias. We don't just want a wick, we want a lot of displacement outside of the orb. We want a good break that shows us a lot of momentum that price is going to be going in that direction. So as you guys can see, we have a break to the downside, price sweeps the liquidity, we tap into this 15-minute and 1 hour fair value gap, and then price has a big reaction off of it. And then we can see that price ends up pushing to the upside from here. And then what happens here is we actually get some displacement from the orb low going in the direction of our bias. This would be an entry I would take, since I'm just more experienced when it comes to this strategy, and I can see that we are having a fake breakout to then just take out this liquidity to give us some momentum to push higher. So what you could do is that, but with the real strategy, and what I want you guys to just practice first, is just waiting for price to give us the break in our direction. So as you guys can see, wait for that break out in our direction. So we have a little bit of a break, but this is probably the better break. We have a good break right here. Price comes back to retest the area, tapping into these fair value gaps, giving us a little pullback. Then we inverse these gaps right here, and then we close outside the orb right here. So you can enter your trade right here, put your stop loss under this low, and then we could target either one of these liquidity lines. You could target this one, or this one. Since we're at all-time highs is a very strong draw on liquidity. It is most likely, if it goes up here, it is going to smack all-time highs. So in this scenario, you can just put your take profit at all-time highs, and then you can let it ride. And as you guys can see right here, let's see what happens. Smack that first take profit, second, and then we do end up smacking all-time highs for easy 1 to 3. Now if you would have caught it down here and put your take profit up here, you would have gotten an easy 1 to 4, almost a 1 to 5. We did have a break to the downside, but we did not have a break in the direction of our bias, so we do not take this trade. We had a break to the downside to then sweep all this liquidity. Okay, now step 4, we're going to enter our trade. Now for our entry confirmation, we want to wait for the break. We got a break, and then now our entry, we're going to wait for a retest and rejection of the orb with confirmation. Now confirmation can be bullish engulfing candlesticks, it could be inverse fair value gap, consolidation, us holding the orb, stuff like that. So we get our retest rejection, enter with confirmation. Our stop loss is going to go either below a fair value gap or below a lower high or a higher low. And then we're going to target draw on liquidity. If our draw on liquidity is to the upside, we want to target at least a 1 to 2 or 1.5. Okay, now I'm going to run through this a couple more times with you guys just so we can get this down and remember it. So first step was to find our bias, right? In this scenario, we can obviously see that price is making higher high, higher low, higher high. We are obviously bullish. The 1 hour is also bullish as well. You know, we got a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. We are in bullish structure. Okay. And then we just drop down to the 15-minute, and we want to mark out all of our key levels where we have all-time high right here, and we have this high right here, and then we have this low that price has just swept, and then now delivering to the upside. So we have all these lows, we have our key levels marked, and then now all we do is just mark our orb. This is going to be the 9:30 candle right here. 9:30 candle, this candle will open, and then 9:45 it will close, and that is when we mark it from wick to wick. I see that we do have this 4-hour gap that price is respecting though, so that is a good confluence that our trade is going to go to the upside, right? So then now all I do is drop to the 1 minute, and then I see us have a break to the upside. We have our break, and then now all I do want now is just for us to get some rejection of this orb. Okay, and then I see a lot of buyers come in right here, and if you can see right here, it happened right at this 3-minute fair value gap. A lot of buying pressure has came into the market here. What I did is I entered my trade right here, put my stop loss under this low, and then I target about a 1 to 2. We do have all-time highs right here, but if you have been trading all-time highs, you know, price just goes past all-time highs. You know, we don't want to sell all-time highs, so I'm just holding it past there. Usually my draw, like, I would just keep it right at the highest liquidity level, but you know, with these market conditions, I can actually squeeze out a little bit more money out of these trades. And then you see that we have a second break. We come back, retest our fair value gap again to then push up higher. We have a second break, price comes back to retest the orb, and I actually got a second entry here after price broke for the second time. Give it one more second right here. So I entered my trade right here, put my stop loss under this low now, and then I targeted about a 1 to 2 as well. And then as you can see, both of these trades banged and all of my students were eating in the Discord. As you guys can see, trade recap from Thursday, May 14th. This is the trade that I did end up calling out. Also called out this trade that I was showing you guys earlier, the first trade. So I mean, I'm not just some backtesting guru, and in this past 2-3 weeks we have had only 2 losses, and I take all these trades live with all my students. As you guys can see, this is the chat with me and all my students. Everybody spamming W's, smacking TP right here. We got Axel here, just passes eval due to the lives. We got Carlos said this is the only good investment he's ever made. And we got just everybody banging, you know. He made 1280. Shona made $600. Drippy made 600. Also made another 1K. Carlos up 600. Another 550. And I'm just showing you guys proof, just so you guys don't think I'm just some type of backtesting guru, but I'm actually taking these trades every single day. Okay, we got one last trade for you guys. We are going to do step 1. Find our bias. We're still at all-time highs. Now, every day is pretty much just going to be bullish. Every day is really just how do we find an entry. It's really easy to trade now that we're at all-time highs. A lot of people are struggling, but it's really easy bro. You're literally just looking for a reason to buy, honestly. In this scenario, if I look at the 1 hour, I see we also have this fair value gap that I see that price could tap into. We are inside of a 4-hour fair value gap right here. Yep, 4-hour fair value gap. So yeah, and then so like we're obviously looking for buys. I drop down to the 15-minute, and then I can also see that we have a 15-minute gap right here as well. I can see price tapping into these gaps and then having to move to the upside. In this scenario, let's see what happens in that 15-minute candle. We just have the move to the upside. Let's mark our candle, and then let's mark all of our key levels as well. This is our all-time high, and then we have down here, we have our lows, just in case price wants to come down and sweep these levels and then have the move to the upside. Okay, so then let's go down to our 1 minute and wait for a break. Let's see, we get a break to the upside. Now we have a good kind of rejection from this fair value gap right here, and then another push. Can just wait a little bit longer. We get a little bit better of a break and then a better retest right here, and then we have some rejection off of this fair value gap right here. You can wait a little bit until price breaks the orb again, and then now you can enter your trade right here, have all that confirmation going for you, and then target the upside. I don't know if I entered here or entered here. Let's find out, boys. So May 6th, I did actually enter this trade a little bit before that. So we took this trade, we were bullish, market gave me a clean break to the upside, bullish confirmation, made sure we had a bigger stop loss, knew price can come down and do some bullshit, gave it room to breathe, then we target all-time highs. As you guys can see, I sent this out May 6, 2026, right? So boom, yeah. And as you guys can see, made sure I had a bigger stop loss, so we didn't get stopped out here. So you could either have entered right there. I did enter a little early. I mean, right here, I entered right here, which is not a bad reaction. We were pushing off of this fair value gap, and we had a second break right here. Good bullish confirmation. Made sure I had a bigger stop loss just in case price did do something like this. Wanted to put it under these fair value gaps because price can come into these to then have the move to the upside, which price did. And then let's watch it play out. And as you can see, we do end up smashing full take profit. Very nice trade. Took this trade live with my students. Now here are the numbers, right? In the last 30 days, I've made 30K, 80% win rate, and only 90 minutes per day with a 1 to 2 risk to reward every trade, right? Oh, he just lying. No. So this month alone, we're only in halfway through the month. I've made $11,000. My trade win percent is 82%. It's really 83%, but some of my trades didn't copy trade, with a profit target of a 3.86. That means whenever I enter a trade, I'm getting at least 3.86 times my money. So that is why even if I had a 50% win rate, I would be really profitable. An 80% win rate with a profit target of a 3.8 is insane. And then I have a day win percentage of 83%, and then this as well. I mean, what else can I show you, man? This is real money, real trades, real data. I'm already up over $11,000 this month alone so far, and we're only halfway through. And that's what makes this strategy perfect for passing profit from evaluations. The drawdown is minimal because I'm risking the same amount per trade, and I have a hard rule, 2 losses in one day, and I'm completely done for the day. Usually I only take 1 trade a day, but this rule keeps your account protected, and then we just come back tomorrow. Now, if you made it this far, you have everything you need to trade this strategy. The rules are clear, the setup is mechanical, there is no guessing. But here's the reality, I've had people learn exactly what I just showed you and still not make any money. Not because your strategy doesn't work, but because when it's real money and the trade goes against you for a second, they move their stop loss, or they close early, or they don't even take the trade at all because they hesitated. Knowledge and execution are 2 completely different things, and that gap, that is where years get wasted. Now these are common questions that I get when it comes to the orb. What if the orb doesn't break? Then we just don't take a trade. It's easy. We just sit on our hands and we wait for our setup. If we don't get our setup that day, then we don't force a setup and just end up losing money, because a trade that we didn't lose or didn't win, that is actually a winning day. We protected our account, we stayed disciplined, and we didn't let our emotions dictate our actions. What if it breaks and reverses? That's what our stop loss is for. A valid setup is not a strategy failure, it's statistics. An 80% win rate means that 20% of trades lose. That's expected, it's planned for, we move on. What markets does this work on? I personally trade it on ES futures. I also do trade it a little bit on NQ when ES is a little choppy, but it works on stocks and crypto, anywhere that has volume at the open. Same rules, same time. Now, I want to be straight with you. You don't need to work with me to make this strategy work. You can take everything I just showed you and go trade it on your own. That's totally possible. But I also know for some of you, the hardest part isn't actually the strategy. It's the execution, it's the consistency, the psychology in the moment when price is moving against you and everything in your body is screaming at you to close the trade. That's what I help with my one-on-one mentorship. We trade live together. I review every single trade that you take. I tell you exactly what you're doing wrong and what to fix. You get direct access to me, not a Discord server with the hundreds of people, not a course you watch once and then forget. Me, you, one-on-one until you're consistently profitable. I'm so confident in this that if you don't hit your goal in 12 months, I will give you a full refund, no questions asked. The spots are limited. I only work with a small group at a time. If the link in the description is still live, there's a spot available and you can click it to fill out an application and we'll get you on a call. If it's not live, sorry, the spots are closed temporarily and they will be back open soon. And if you're not ready for that, that's fine. Keep watching the content. I'll keep posting. But those of you who are serious and want to fast track this, the link is there. Let's get it.